Dear friends, allow me to begin by telling you that throughout all these years of spiritual study and practice, I have come to understand a fundamental truth that has transformed not only my life, but the lives of thousands of people who have trusted in these teachings. Wealth is not simply money in the bank or material possessions. True wealth is a state of consciousness, a manifestation of divine abundance that flows through us when we align ourselves with the spiritual laws that govern the universe. Today I want to share with you the 7 sacred laws of spoken wealth, those eternal truths that, when understood and applied with unwavering faith, can completely transform your relationship with abundance. These are not abstract theories, but living principles that I have seen manifest again and again in the lives of those who have had the courage to trust in the power of the spoken word. The first law I wish to reveal to you is the law of the creative word. As it is written in Scripture, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Every word we speak is a cosmic decree, an order given to the invisible universe that manifests in the visible world. When we speak of poverty, of limitation, of lack, we are creating precisely those conditions in our lives. But when we declare abundance, prosperity, and divine wealth, we are invoking the creative forces of the universe to bring those blessings into manifestation. I vividly remember the case of a dear friend who came to me in a state of financial desperation. Her constant words were, "I have no money. I will never have enough. I will always be in trouble." I explained to her that every time she spoke these words, she was ordering the universe to maintain those conditions in her life. I taught her to change her vocabulary, to declare, "I am a daughter of God, and divine abundance is my natural inheritance. Money flows to me in perfect ways and under divine grace." In less than 3 months, she received an unexpected inheritance that solved all her financial problems. This was not coincidence, it was the law of the creative word in action. The second law is the law of divine expectation. Our expectations are like invisible magnets that draw to us what we expect to receive. If we expect lack, that is exactly what we will experience. But if we raise our expectations toward divine abundance, if we truly believe that we are deserving of every blessing, then the universe will conspire to bring us exactly that. Expectation is not simply hope. It is an inner certainty, an absolute trust in the goodness of God and in our divine right to abundance. Let me tell you about a businessman I met some years ago. He had been struggling with his company for months, constantly repeating, "Business is very bad, there is no money circulating, the economy is terrible." I helped him change his expectation. He began to declare, "My business prospers under divine grace. Perfect clients come to me at the perfect time. Abundance flows through my company like a powerful river." I also taught him to visualize his office full of happy clients, to feel prosperity as if it were already real. Within 6 weeks, his business had completely turned around. New contracts arrived unexpectedly, and his company experienced the greatest growth in its history. The third law is the law of magnetic gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful states of consciousness we can cultivate. When we are truly grateful for what we have, no matter how small it may seem, we are vibrating in the frequency of abundance. Gratitude acts as a magnet that attracts more blessings toward us. We cannot be grateful and at the same time feel poor or limited. They are mutually exclusive states of consciousness. I have observed that the most prosperous people I know are also the most grateful, not because they have much to be grateful for, but because their constant gratitude has created the conditions for abundance in their lives. When we begin the day giving thanks for our present blessings, when we end the day recognizing all the ways the universe has provided for us, we are establishing a pattern of consciousness that inevitably attracts more abundance. A young mother once consulted me because she couldn't pay the rent on her apartment. I suggested she begin each day by writing 10 things she was grateful for, no matter how simple they might be. At first, she protested, saying she had nothing to be grateful for. But I persisted, and she began with basic things: the air she breathed, the love of her children, a roof over her head. Gradually, her perspective changed. She began to see abundance where before she had only seen lack. And since gratitude attracts more of the same, she soon found a better-paying job, and all her needs were generously met. The fourth law is the law of joyful service. True wealth always flows through service. When we find ways to serve others with joy, when we use our talents and abilities to bless the world, we are opening the channels for divine abundance to flow toward us. The universe generously rewards those who give generously of themselves. This does not mean we should work for free or allow others to take advantage of us. It means that when we approach our work, our businesses, our relationships from a perspective of loving service, when we genuinely seek to help and bless others, we are activating one of the most powerful laws in the universe. As the proverb says, "Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over." I know a woman who completely transformed her financial situation simply by changing her attitude toward her work. She worked as a secretary and constantly complained about her boss, her colleagues, and her salary. I suggested she begin to see her work as an opportunity to serve, to bless others with her efficiency and kindness. She began arriving early, helping her colleagues, anticipating her boss's needs with genuine joy. Within a few months, she was promoted to a better-paying position, and eventually established her own administrative services company that prospers to this day. The fifth law is the law of creative visualization. Our subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a real experience and one vividly imagined. When we visualize our abundance as if it were already real, when we feel the emotions of prosperity, when we mentally live in the state of wealth we desire, we are programming our subconscious mind to manifest those conditions in the physical world. But visualization must be accompanied by faith and action. It is not enough to simply imagine. We must completely believe in the reality of our vision and be willing to act when divine guidance directs us. Visualization without faith is just fantasy, but visualization with faith is the most powerful creative force in the universe. A gentleman once told me he had been visualizing a specific house for months, a beautiful residence he had seen in an elegant neighborhood. Every night, before sleeping, he would imagine himself living in that house, feeling the joy of being there, decorating the rooms, receiving friends. One day, while walking through that neighborhood, he noticed a "for sale" sign on the exact house he had been visualizing. Although his finances seemed to make the purchase impossible, he felt an inner guidance telling him to investigate. It turned out the owner needed to sell quickly and was willing to finance the purchase on very favorable terms. Today, he lives in that house, a living testimony to the power of creative visualization guided by faith. The sixth law is the law of liberating forgiveness. One of the greatest obstacles to abundance is resentment. When we hold grudges, when we cling to hurts from the past, when we blame others for our limitations, we are blocking the channels of divine abundance. Forgiveness is not a favor we do for others. It is a gift we give to ourselves. When we forgive, we release the energy that was trapped in resentment and make it available to create abundance in our lives. I have seen extraordinary cases of financial transformation that immediately followed acts of deep forgiveness. A woman who had been struggling financially for years finally decided to forgive her ex-husband for abandoning the family. She had been carrying resentment for decades, blaming him for all her difficulties. When she finally forgave him completely, not just in words but in her heart, her financial situation changed dramatically. She received an unexpected promotion, began receiving payments from an investment she had forgotten about, and her life became filled with abundance in ways she had never imagined. Forgiveness also includes forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, for poor financial decisions, for missed opportunities. When we free ourselves from guilt and self-criticism, when we accept that we did the best we could with the consciousness we had at that time, we are opening our hearts to receive the blessings that God has prepared for us. The seventh and final law is the law of inspired action. Faith without works is dead, and abundance requires that we take action when we receive divine guidance. But not just any action, it must be inspired action, action that arises from divine intuition, action that feels right in our spirit. When we are aligned with divine will, when we listen to the voice of inner wisdom, we will always be guided toward the right actions that will lead us to abundance. Inspired action often requires courage, because it may seem illogical from a human perspective. It may mean leaving a secure but unsatisfying job to follow our passion. It may mean investing in an idea that others consider risky. It may mean moving to a new city, starting a new business, or simply changing our daily routine. But when action arises from divine inspiration, it is always backed by the power of the universe. A young entrepreneur consulted me about a business opportunity that had arisen. From a logical perspective, it seemed risky. He didn't have all the necessary resources, competition was fierce, and several experts had advised him not to try. But in his heart, he felt a certainty, a peace that surpasses all understanding. I encouraged him to follow that inner guidance. He took the inspired action, and his business became one of the most successful in his industry. The difference was that his action did not arise from fear or desperation, but from divine inspiration. My dear friends, these 7 laws are not simply concepts to be understood intellectually. They are living principles to be applied daily. When we make the creative word our constant tool, when we elevate our expectations toward divine abundance, when we cultivate gratitude as a state of being, when we serve others joyfully, when we visualize our prosperity with faith, when we forgive completely, and when we take inspired action, we are activating cosmic forces that will inevitably bring abundance to our lives. Remember that true wealth is not just money. It is vibrant health, loving relationships, meaningful purpose, inner peace, and absolute trust in the goodness of God. It is knowing that we are one with the source of all good, that we are perfect channels for divine abundance, that our needs are always met and our deepest desires manifest under divine grace. I have seen these laws work in my own life and in the lives of countless people who have had the courage to trust in them. No matter what your current situation may be, no matter how limited your circumstances may seem, when you apply these laws with constant faith, your life will transform in ways you cannot even imagine now. The universe is abundant by nature. Look around you. Trees do not worry about producing enough leaves. Flowers do not anguish over their beauty. Oceans do not fear running out of water. Abundance is the very nature of creation, and we, as children of God, are natural heirs to that abundance. So I tell you today, begin where you are, with what you have. Speak words of abundance, raise your expectations, cultivate gratitude, serve with joy, visualize your prosperity, forgive completely, and take inspired action. Make these laws part of your daily routine, as natural as breathing, and prepare to witness miracles. Because when we work in harmony with divine laws, miracles become the norm, not the exception. The abundance you seek already exists. You only need to align your consciousness with it, and it will manifest in your physical experience. Trust the process, have faith in the laws, and above all, have faith in yourselves as perfect expressions of divine abundance. Your prosperity is not just possible, it is inevitable when you work with these sacred laws. May divine abundance flow through you and to you in perfect ways. and under divine grace. May you recognize your inheritance of spiritual, emotional, and material wealth, and may your lives become living testimonies to the power of the spoken word and the infinite love of God. Wealth awaits you. The laws are at your disposal. The power is within you. Now, go forth and manifest the abundance that is your divine birthright.